The Backrooms is an analog horror web series developed by C. Parsons. Let me tell you about the place that exists in the corner of your eye, the one you almost catch when the lights flicker or when your office carpet smells a little too damp. The Backrooms isn't fiction, it's a psychological prank played by reality itself, a bureaucratic purgatory designed by a god who hates furniture but loves fluorescent lighting and mildew. Imagine you knocklip through the floor of your apartment, yes, like a glitchan. Wake up somewhere that feels like a government facility had a baby with a Motel 6. The carpets are yellow, the ceilings hum like dying bees, and there are no windows, just infinite beige hallways looping and looping like a dentist's waiting room. Had a panic attack and never recovered. The scariest part, there's no monster, not really. The monster is time, or the absence of it. You wander so long you forget your own name. The smell of wet carpet becomes your mother. Your calendar melts the longer you stay, the more your brain starts tap dancing on broken logic. And sometimes, if you're lucky or very unlucky, you hear something, not footsteps, shuffling, grating, like something dragging itself forward by fingernails and teeth, but not quite fast enough to catch you. Yet you scream for help. Nobody hears you except the walls, and maybe the walls like you a little too much. Siren Head is a cryptid monster created by artist Trevor Henderson. Siren Head is what happens when a Cold War air raid siren mates with your PTSD. It's not a creature, it's a public safety announcement that grew legs and a hunger problem. This skeletal freak stands at 40 feet tall, looks like it escaped from a scrapyard orgy, and has sirens for a head, not horns. Literal Cold War sirens that scream children's voices. Emergency alerts, static, or worse, your name whispered backward. It doesn't roar, it broadcasts. Like an evil podcast hosted by Satan's AM radio, it doesn't chase, it stalks, it blends into telephone poles, like it's mocking the concept of perception. You walk through the woods and hear a tornado warning, but there's no storm. You look up, oh no, that's not a tower, that's a torso, and don't you dare think you're safe. Just because it's analog. Siren Head doesn't care about your 5G connection. It's the ghost of broadcast anxiety, the living embodiment of your childhood fear that the emergency alert system might someday scream the apocalypse, and maybe it will. SCP-096 is a humanoid creature from the SCP Foundation mythos. Oh, this one's a treat. Imagine if your social anxiety could punch through steel walls at Mach 3. SCP-096 doesn't want to be perceived. It's a pale, gangly humanoid that hunches over like Slender Man after a failed yoga class. But hey, race the kicker. If you see its face in real life in a photo in a crayon doodle made by a sleep-deprived toddlery or dead, full stop, it doesn't matter if you're on the moon or hiding in a submarine. Once your eyes connect with its cursed mug, the countdown begins. It starts weeping, screaming, sprinting toward you with the grace of a caffeinated praying mantis, and it will find you. Oh, it will find you. It's not even trying to kill you out of rage. It's more like emotional dysregulation with a kill count. It's embarrassed, humiliated. This is what happens when you give anxiety an overpowered body and tell it it's ugly. You can't reason with it. You can't run. The only safe way to interact with SCP-096 is to not look at it, which is, ironically, the only thing the human brain can't do once it's told not to. It's not just horror, it's a metaphor for the age of oversharing in a world where everyone is looking. This guy is your worst-case scenario. Skinwalkers are shape-shifting creatures rooted in Navajo folklore. This isn't just folklore, this is shape-shifting paranoia dipped in gasoline and lit with ancestral trauma. Skinwalkers aren't werewolves, they aren't fun, they're cursed medicine men who traded their souls for the ability to become animals. Think about Theta, human mind filled with hate, wearing a coyote like a meat hoodie, and it remembers you, and it wants to wear your skin next you. Hear a knock at your door, a voice that sounds like your brother. Let me in, but your brother's not home. Your pets start acting weird, the air feels too still. Then you smell copper, not blood intent. You're not being stalked, you're being rehearsed for something's performance. The worst part isn't what they look like, it's that they mimic voices, faces, familiarity. They hijack comfort like malware in your memory. You're supposed to feel safe when your dad calls your name in the woods, not run until your lungs collapse. But you'd better run, because if a skinwalker knows you recognized it, that's when it stops pretending you weren't supposed to know, and now it's personal. Momo is a viral urban legend based on a disturbing sculpture by Keisuke Isoa. Momo isn't real, they said. Momo is just a meme, they said. Yeah, and so was the Ice Bucket Challenge, until it started crawling out of iPads and whispering instructions to children. That thing with its bug eyes and rictus grin, like a cursed Snapchat filter from a Japanese nightmare, was never meant to be famous, but the internet has a way of giving unholy Icons a second life, especially when paired with fear, guilt, and preteen. Boredom, let's be real, Momo isn't a creature. Momo is the embodiment of weaponized virality, a story so fake it became real, not because it ever physically existed, but because it lived rent-free in every parent's skull. Right between my kid is safe online, and what if they're being dared to drink bleach by a demon chicken woman? The true horror isn't Momo's face, it's how quickly humans invent dreadful myths in response to silence. A blank text message, a shadow in a YouTube thumbnail, a rumor in a WhatsApp group chat, and suddenly we have another demon to fear at bedtime. Momo is digital folklore with teeth. She never needed to exist. We made her real by believing. Candle Cove is a creepypasta based on a fictional children's TV show with sinister origins. Hey Race the Pitch, a kids show that only aired once. Everyone remembers it. No one can find the tapes. And the more you talk about it, the more you realize everyone remembers different things, and none of it should have been for children. Candle Cove isn't horror, it's collective delusion marinated in nostalgia and served with a side of unreality. The kind of show where puppets scream, where the sea is a metaphor for death, where the villain is a skinless skeleton who grinds children's teeth into sand. And it gets worse, because the deeper you dig, the more you realize something impossible. The show never aired. All those kids who remember watching it, they were just staring at static, hours of static together in silence, like some mass hallucination sewed into childhood. There's no monster, just the suggestion that maybe you're remembering something that didn't exist, or maybe something made you remember it wrong. That's the real horror of Candle Cove. Memory isn't safe. Childhood isn't safe. The TV didn't babysit you, it brainwashed you, and it might still be on somewhere waiting for your kid. Polybius is a legendary arcade game that allegedly caused hallucinations, nightmares, and suicide in the early 1980s. This isn't just a haunted game, this is urban legend. As psychological warfare, Polybius was supposedly an arcade cabinet that showed up in Portland in 1981, black, unmarked, no branding, just there like a cold sore on the lip of reality. Kids would line up to play it only to leave glassy-eyed, nauseous, whispering numbers that didn't make sense. Then came the seizures, the rage, the memory loss. And finally the men in black, who would arrive in pairs and download the game's data, stone-faced and wordless like therapists for Satan's app store. No one can prove it existed. That's the point. Polybius isn't a game, it's a ghost in the machine, a CIA experiment, a black site project, or maybe, just maybe, a mass psychosis designed to explain why your friend Billy got weird and punched his cat after playing Galaga too long. But don't pretend it doesn't make sense. Deep down we know video games can eat us alive. They're hypnotic. Polybius just put a name and a shadow on the thing that already lives in every screen. Addiction that whispers, just one more game, just one more try, just a little deeper. The Rake is a humanoid creature from online horror forums known for stalking victims and whispering to them as they sleep. Oh hey Race 1, to ruin your nap schedule. The Rake is what happens when sleep paralysis grows legs and decides it wants your soul on toast. It's pale, humanoid, no clothes, no eyes, just teeth and fingers that never learned restraint. It lives in the margins of your night, just outside the lamp's reach. You don't hear it coming, you feel it. Had irrational certainty that something is watching you through the crack in your closet door, and then you see it crouched over your bed, breathing, watching, saying your name like it's learning it. Victims say it perches on the edge of their mattress, whispering unintelligible gibberish, or worse, perfectly rehearsed regret. You shouldn't have moved. He knows too late now. It doesn't kill you right away. Know that. Be kind. It haunts you, returns night after night, until you're a sleep-deprived wreck talking to your mirror at 4 a.m. with salt circles on your floor and zero friends left who believe you. Maybe it's real. Maybe it's a metaphor for your own intrusive thoughts given fangs and form. Either way, the next time you wake up with your sheets tangled and your heart racing, don't look at the foot of your bed. Smile Dog is a cursed image from creepypasta lore that allegedly drives viewers insane. After viewing, you know that thing where you stare into a photo and it stares back. Smile Dog isn't a file, it's a digital sin, a cursed JPEG circulating the deepest ends of the internet. Like a blood-soaked chain letter, it's a dog barely too wide, too human. Its eyes are predator calm, but its mouth, God, that mouth looks like it was carved with a box cutter, and the intent to hurt. The photo comes with a message. Smile Dog JPG, spread the word. That's not a suggestion, it's a demand. People who see it report nausea, night terrors, migraines, and eventually madness. Some take their own lives, others spread it. It's a digital haunting wrapped in pixelated teeth, And it begs one question: what happens when a curse evolves to fit bandwidth? When trauma doesn't need ghosts or graves, just a right click, there's no blood, no monster, just an image. But somehow that's worse, because deep down, we know the most dangerous ideas aren't carried by Wildfire, shared, downloaded, and opened at 3:17 a.m. when you just had to click that link too late. Now you've seen it, and maybe, just maybe, you'll send it to someone else. Kuchisekiana is a Japanese urban legend about a malicious spirit who asks victims if she's beautiful before mutilating them. She's polite. That's the worst part. You're walking home late, empty street. Then she's there, a woman in a trench coat and surgical mask. She steps into your path, tilts her head, and asks, "Am I pretty?" If you say yes, she takes off the mask. Her mouth is sliced open, ear to ear, a Cheshire grin carved by a hand with no mercy. She asks again, "Am I pretty?" Now you say no. She kills you. You say yes. She cuts your face to match hers. There is no correct answer, only delay tactics. You're average, or I have a meeting. But even then, she might follow forever. Kuchisekiana isn't just a ghost. She's the embodiment of impossible standards and weaponized beauty. She's what happens when societal pressure puts on lipstick and grabs a pair of scissors. And she's always walking, asking, deciding if you're worthy of symmetrical skin. So the next time you see someone in a mask late at night, staring too long, maybe don't answer, maybe just cross the street, but don't run.